Not gonna lie, quitting my YouTube channel with 4.3 million views and 66,000 subscribers was one of the scariest decisions I've ever made. It took me 9 months to make this decision, kind of like the time it takes to birth a baby. But the minute I made it, I was at peace. I was like, this is absolutely the right decision to make. And this channel actually does feel like a rebirth for me. So let me walk you through all of the reasons why I restarted my YouTube channel from zero and why I think this channel might have even more potential than my previous one. So I started my channel in 2015 from Pakistan. And I started creating some business videos initially, and then my YouTube videos talking about YouTube tips. Those are the ones that, got the most views and traction. And so I just kind of went into that. And obviously, that's who the channel was starting to attract, people who wanted YouTube growth tips, and hacks and secrets and all that kind of stuff. Whereas what I actually wanted was a more business-centric audience, because my ultimate goal was always to leverage my YouTube channel for business and not have the YouTube channel be an end goal. But that's not what was happening. So I actively saw that in my demographics, there was a very clear distinction. The people who are watching my channel do not actually represent the people who become my clients. And so there was this gap that I was like, how do I bridge this gap? And so for the last 9 months, I've been trying to pivot and I've been creating more business-centric content. And I was like, wanting to attract more entrepreneurs and online business owners. But what was happening was that my existing audience would see that business-centric content, not engage with it, and then YouTube would think the content was bad and not show it to the people who I actually wanted to reach. But I discovered that I couldn't get rid of those subscribers, even though they were inactive and not interested. Whereas on email, you can do that, right? So on email, you can cull your email list, remove inactive subscribers, even on social media platforms like Instagram, for instance. But unfortunately, you cannot do that on YouTube. So I was stuck with an audience that wasn't converting, and they were actively hurting my reach to the people who actually would. So as a result of all of this, my growth completely slowed down on the channel. Videos that typically would have gotten like 10,000, 20,000 views were now barely getting 200 views. And combine that with the fact that in the last 3 years, my content production also became very haphazard. So because I was moving countries, I was moving to Portugal permanently. So there was a whole immigration thing happening, a year in planning, and then 2 years in settling down. As a result, I took multiple breaks. Another change that happened in these last 3 years was that the YouTube algorithm shifted. So my videos were all very heavily search-based. That's how most of my views came. And when the algorithm shifted, search became number 2, kind of deprioritized, and most of the YouTube views that were being prioritized were coming from the recommendation engine, so from YouTube suggested. So naturally, my viewership dropped. So literally for 9 months straight, I was trying to revive the channel, playing around with thumbnails, experimenting with topics. And I have actually never been more consistent in the last 3 years. This year was the year I was the most consistent, and I was putting in the most amount of effort, but it just was not translating into growth. During this time, I realized that I, as a creator, have also changed. There are so many ways that I think about YouTube and about creation now that I didn't actually used to think about before. And I mean, look at the fact I moved to an island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Life is slow here, slower compared to like a big cosmopolitan city. And as a creator, I wanted to embrace slower pace of life. I wanted to have a lifestyle business, a business that worked for me rather than a business that I was working like 24/7 for. So I, as a creator, was changing. But my YouTube audience was still discovering my videos for stuff like YouTube growth hacks and how to get more impressions. And, it was just such a big gap happening over there. I wanted to talk more about building a business, building a lifestyle, having sustainability with your business, leveraging the power of YouTube, but my audience was not discovering me for those topics. And what happened was that I was compromising. I was creating videos that were like, okay, I think like my existing audience of 66,000 subscribers is going to enjoy this, but also like putting in a little bit of business stuff in it, like how to write a script to get sales. So I'm like, okay, I'm still talking about how to write a script, but now I'm adding in the sales element. And I was like trying to compromise and do this, and it was just exhausting. But because of this compromise, nobody was happy. The algorithm wasn't happy, my new audience wasn't happy, my old audience wasn't happy. Therefore, I had literally creatively stifled myself, and I was exhausted in the process. And I was enjoying YouTube less and less. I mean, what's the whole point of having a channel if you're not going to enjoy it? When I finally made the decision to restart on YouTube, this brand new channel, at first, I was really scared because, I was like, I'm starting from zero, and what's going to happen? And nobody's going to trust me, or all of that. But, I had this thought that I'm not actually starting from zero. I'm starting from experience. 400 videos, 10 years on YouTube. That's going to count for something. 700 clients served during that time. I am not starting from zero. I have all of this wealth of knowledge, experience, authority, failures, successes, case studies, like so much wealth that I could talk about. And so when I realized that I'm going to start from scratch, and I told myself, okay, fine, I'm starting from scratch, but I'm not starting from zero. And that is really what empowered me. And I felt like, okay, I can do this. And that's kind of what helped me make the decision to start this new channel. The thing about starting afresh is also because I actually wanted to stay on YouTube. I actually love the platform. I love the fact that it's evergreen. I like doing live streams here. I love the community. I love the connection. I love the authority building. I love how YouTube positions you as an expert super easily if you get a few things right. I love all of that. I love the creator community, and I'd kind of been missing that. I'd been missing being part of that. And so I felt like the minute I made the decision to start this channel, it was like a fresh moment of like, I literally sighed and I was like, okay, I can be myself again. I can talk about the things that fire me up again. And it almost feels like I'm returning to the creator space while also being an entrepreneur, if that makes sense. And so what I want you to kind of take away from this really is the fact that start before you're ready, have a plan, and then, be prepared to pivot if that plan doesn't work out. And, maybe if you're on a similar journey and you're trying to figure YouTube and your business out, maybe you don't have to do it alone. I have a community called the YouTube Entrepreneur Society where we help creators and entrepreneurs and give support, advice, and strategies that help you move your channel forward as well as your business forward. I'll put a link to Yes down in the description below. And if my story today resonated with you, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel to see how this experiment plays out. And then go and watch this video next to see what I am so excited about in YouTube's future.